What is going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me as we're painting Obi-Wan Kenobi today. So this is all taken from a live stream that I did, and I decided to maybe start doing some different type of content here. So if you enjoy this, keep an eye out for that kind of stuff and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss when I do go live. So this is a repaint, and starting with his robe, which is what I do first, I am gonna go with a 50-50 mix of Palid Bone and Bony Matter from SpeedPaints, and you're just gonna slather this all over his robes. I do be careful to make sure it's not pulling too much, and there's a little bit of miss, but that's fine. It's a learning process with SpeedPaints. I'm still not there. I haven't been painting forever, maybe about a year off and on, but lately I've been trying to purposefully improve rather than just get stuff done. But just be careful, hit all this. I just do one quick coat of this tan color, and this is kind of the finished product that you'll end up with that tan, and I was pretty happy with the result of that color. Mixing those two gave me what I was looking for. Next we're going to take some Grim Black, and we're just going to hit all of his cloth bits. So this is in between the armor, on the legs, on the arms, the hands, the kind of triangle on his chest, and under his like on his sides, kind of. Just be as careful as you can because it's black. It's going to be hard to cover up, especially doing speed paint stuff. And just go ahead and block in all of that stuff. Again, just one coat. Because it's also kind of small. I'm not really looking for the contrast effect of like the speed paints. I'm mainly just blocking in color. So again, just be more careful and slow with this process and be a little bit more deliberate, because it will be hard to cover up if you do get it on stuff you don't want it on. This is also maybe not as much a tutorial as much as it is just how I did it, because again, I am still learning. So in a way, you guys are kind of just going on that process with me. And if you like the end result, then this kind of gives you an idea of how I got there. As this is also just a new type of video, this is just a voiceover, it's very different. So I apologize if this isn't great, it's just a new thing. So after that, I go ahead and start in my process of learning to freehand the symbol on his shoulder. Now, I don't really have a lot of pointers for this, as it's something I'm very new at. I just mixed up a color as close as I could get it to that burgundy and try to be as careful and, steady as I can, which, I've got kind of shaky hands. And I wasn't looking for perfect here. I was just looking for a general representation of the symbol, because I didn't even try it the first time I painted him. And I'm pretty happy with the end result. It ended up a little iffy, but it gets the point across. So as you can see, it's, is it perfect? No. Is there an easier way to go about it? Probably, but it is, especially from a tabletop standard, perfectly fine with me. So I'm gonna let that set for a minute. I'm gonna just take some Fire Drake and just do one quick coat over his hair, and again around the edges near his face. Be kind of careful, but be kind of quick about getting this coat on in one kind of pass. But be careful not to get as little as you can on his face. Watch out for his ears and around the backside of his neck, but the more careful you can be, the better. So now that symbol's set a little bit, I'm literally just gonna do a quick Nuln Oil pass over all of the white. The base, I should add, was zenithaled. And I did spray a little bit through the airbrush on the bottom side of the arms just to give it a little bit more of a gray than a black, because it was a zenithal over a black. But for the white, I'm literally just going to Nuln Oil straight over that kind of base coat. And, this is kind of up to you as to how dirty you want them to be. You could go back and dry brush over this if you wanted to brighten it back up a little bit. I just left it as is because it kind of fits in with the State of My Republic stuff, and that got me exactly where I wanted to be. For the belt, it's a kind of a mixture of browns. I started with Ruddy Fur, and I hit some of the pouches on his right and left hip, and then I just kind of picked one on the back to hit just to break it up, because this belt isn't accurate to the Clone Wars. I used this Talos Bronze and blocked in the little cylinders on the left and back side of his belt, and then I just went through with a Satchel Brown and Speedpaint Medium, like a 1-to-1 mixture, 1 drop of each, mix it up, and hit everything else on the belt, and in the end ended up tagging a little bit just with a little bit of regular acrylic silver just to add a little bit of something on the front of his belt, and his belt was basically done. Nice and easy, no fuss. Next, I'm trying a different technique for the skin. I am 50-50 with how it came out. I think I need to push it further. So I am going to base coat in Cadian Flesh. Just gonna do 1 coat of Cadian Fleshtone on his face, and then I'm going to do a flesh wash from Game Color Vallejo, I think. And I'm gonna let that sit, and then I go back and I mix the Vallejo basic skin tone with the Cadian flesh tone and do a little tiny bit of highlighting on his forehead, his nose, his cheeks. It just felt a little too harsh. You can just use a, Crusader flesh tone from Speedpaints if you want, especially because of how I painted this. His face ended up rather bright and base, but I feel like I get just such mixed results with the Speedpaint flesh tones. So I've just been trying different things for flesh tones, and I was pretty happy with this at first, but the more that I've looked at it, something seems a little weird about it. So I think I need more contrast in the face than I ended up with. And here you can see me mix up this mixture of stuff for the little bit of highlights. Now after I did these highlights, because they did seem a little aggressive, which I think if I had just left them and let them, soften, it probably would have been fine the way that it was. But in this, you'll see I'm going to take that Cadian flesh tone, and I'm going to use some glaze medium, which again, I'm very new to. I don't really know how to use it a whole lot. So again, a lot of experimenting going on. And I mix it into that Cadian flesh tone and kind of just glaze over where I did the highlights to try to tone them down. I think I toned it down a little too much, but that is the process that you are seeing. So that is what I'm going to tell you that I did. Again, this is just if you want to get where I got or have a little bit of a baseline, this is what I'm doing. I do feel like there is a huge gap in painting online from what I could find. It's either, Golden Demon standards of perfection, or I painted this model with chalk and that's what it looks like. So I'm just gonna document this kind of as I go, and different models and stuff that I paint on stream I might do this with. I just did a Vader, which was the first model I've ever base coated and layered and painted, quote unquote traditionally with no speed paints, and it was an interesting process. So after the face, because I wanted to let it sit before I do the eyes, I moved to the saber. I'm just going to use the Game Color acrylic, metallic silver and polished gold, and that Speed Paint bronze, which you're seeing here. And I'm just going to hit the back of the saber with the silver. I'm hitting that middle chunk with that bronze, and I'm just going to hit the front area with that polished gold. And that is it for the base coating. And then I'm going to take a little bit of Nuln Oil here and just put it on the hilt, just to define up those edges and the different levels of the hilt, and the saber's basically done. And I'm actually really satisfied with the way that the saber came out. I didn't even, again, try the first time I painted him to differentiate any colors. I think it was just all silver. So you can see there with that Nuln Oil, it's pretty crisp and clean. So nice and easy and quick. Here we're gonna take, I think this is Tidal Wave, and I'm gonna do 2 coats of this on the saber. I did not really care for Tidal Wave as a color. It dried kind of weird. So maybe you could come up with a blue that you like. The process is gonna be exactly the same. So this, I actually did a combination of 2 in this. So basically I'm gonna base coat this saber. I'm gonna take a white acrylic paint and do a little ring around the emitter essentially on the blade. And then I'm just gonna mix a little bit of that speed paint into the acrylic white more and more, and just kind of feather a blend between the speed paint blue and the acrylic white, just to create a little bit of that gradient. Don't be afraid to use like a little bit of water here and there to help. Again, you'll kind of get a feel for it. It's such a small area, most of it's a little bit of like a wet blend, and it's not too terribly difficult if you just mess with it. And again, at worst case, you mess it up, it's so tiny you could just rebase coat the whole thing with a normal acrylic paint, no problem. But then I mixed that, and I don't think I show it in this. I did do a thin line with the side of my brush kind of along the top of the saber, just to accentuate that like little bit of a middle core, and I did like the mix of the 2 methods, so that'll probably be the method going forward, which you don't see in this, but I did do a white line along the top. And last but not least, here is to hit the eyes, which, you know, eyes are tough for everybody, and I'm just making a point to try to do it going forward, and hopefully I'll just get better and better at it. So just 2 little white dots of white and 2 little black dots in the middle, and that was it. And it makes a big difference. So if you're feeling up to it, try it, because it does help. But that is it for this. I appreciate y'all taking the time to watch this. If it has helped you in any way, please let me know. Please leave a comment if you have any criticisms, critiques, anything like that. I'd love to hear them. Thank you to those who join in on the live streams. It's a lot of fun having y'all there. Remember to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Until next time, I will see you guys later.